Hello, everyone. Happy Friday, wherever you are in the world. What a phenomenal time to be joining us today for this webinar all about summer camp in 2026. For those of you who don't know, my name is Sasha Rice. I'm the co-founder of Playground, and this is, I think, our fourth or fifth webinar in this series of Working Smarter. And we're really excited that you all are here. So we will jump into it as folks trickle in. We'll get into the program. And let me see if my slides are working. There we go. First things first, I am just so excited to be here. If you don't know who I am the founder, or I guess co-founder of Playground and the producer of Early Childhood Investigations. Early Childhood Investigations is the longest running webinar series specifically for the early childhood industry. We've supported over 3 million educators over the 16-year history that this program has been around, and it is so exciting to take some of our learnings from that webinar program and bring them directly to Playground. If you're not familiar with Playground, get educated. I'm just kidding. Playground is an app and a website that helps manage and grow childcare programs, and our mission specifically is to make excellent childcare accessible to all. So you can see here on the right side of my screen, those are my co-founders, Josh and Dan. Yes, they are brothers. No, I am not related to them. Sometimes people ask me that, which is crazy to me because I don't think we look anything alike. But the story behind this whole thing was we started Playground because of a need for family. So Josh and Dan's mother was a director for nearly 30 years, running a center with over close to 300 kiddos. Their aunt ran 2 preschools. Their grandma was an administrator. Their sister is an occupational therapist in early childcare. My younger brothers both worked in their mom's childcare. So to say that early childhood is in the DNA would be a real understatement. And we built what is now known as Playground, specifically to help family reclaim more of their day. So the way that we do that, and the reason that Playground is really the only software that a childcare program needs to run and grow, is because not only does our app help automate super tedious parts of running your day-to-day, but we also upskill and uplevel with people, with experts coming in on our webinar program to help people run their businesses better, provide better care, so on and so forth. So that's sort of the why behind what it is that we do. And today, some tips and tricks for the webinar. We like to use QR codes, and we'll also have buttons throughout that you can click on, because who doesn't love to click on a fun little button? So make sure to have a mobile device at the ready to scan the QR code when it pops up, or you can just click the on-screen button or call to action. It'll look similar to the sort of thing that's on the screen right now. The other piece is we record all of our webinars. So all of the folks who registered for today's webinar will get a follow-up email with a link to the recording 24 hours after the webinar. So if you want to go back to anything I said, feel free to. Now, I would love for you all to engage in real time. So there'll be questions and answers that you can submit at any point in time. I will do my best to also answer them as they come up, but we'll also have some dedicated time at the end to answer these questions when they pop up. The platform that I use is super nifty and it helps so that I can just spotlight them on the screen. And we're also giving away some prizes, which I'll talk about in a few moments, where you can earn more chances to win a prize if you submit questions. We will also do a couple polls, so we'll leave them up for about 45 seconds or so, and these are a super helpful way for us to kind of make sure that everyone's following along, and then also tailor the content a bit based off of the answers that we're given. And I mentioned prizes. We are now doing a door prize. So we are giving out a $50 gift card, actually 2 $50 gift cards to our savings club. So it's basically, you can get completely free supplies for your program, and all you have to do is just be here. So you have to be in live attendance to be selected, and I will announce who the winners are at the end. But you can also improve the likelihood that you get chosen, and you can scan the QR code on the screen or click the little CTA button in the bottom middle of the screen to get more bonus entries. And to get more bonus entries, all you have to do is either book a demo with Playground or just ask some questions and engage. So let's do our first poll just to make sure everyone is paying attention and is tapped in. What state is known as the Ocean State? Is it California, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, or Florida? I wish we had Jeopardy music and we would go do 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 do. Let's see. Get your answers in. So far, everyone is riding California. Oh, we got Rhode Island and Florida. Okay, we're gonna close the poll, and one person got it right. Actually, a couple people got it right. The answer is Rhode Island. So good stuff to whoever selected it. I think someone just changed their answer, by the way. You did it right after I said right after I gave the answer. So I don't know if that one counts. Okay, let's jump into it. Getting ready for summer 2026. Summer is a really exciting time. This is a time where folks are on vacation. It's also a really great time to launch and or improve your summer camp offering. Summer camp is incredibly important because not only is it a great way to add a diverse additional source of income for your business, but it also gets you super significant exposure to the rest of your community to actually help you down the line with boosting enrollment. So it's people who may not otherwise have known about your full-time childcare offering and get exposed to your incredible program by signing up for a camp or being invited to a camp by a family or a family friend. Now, the reason that this is actually pretty impactful is because there are over 30 million children in the US alone that take part in organized summer programs every single year. So that's a staggering number. And even though folks might not be enrolled in a full-time childcare option, more often than not, there are folks who are enrolling their children in some sort of organized summer program. So again, this is a way to get your foot in the door and get increased exposure to families that you otherwise may not. And ideally, you have mechanisms in place to help convert you or help convert them down the line to become part of your full-time childcare option. Today, we'll be talking about things that you can actually hopefully use in your program tomorrow. So safety checklists, we're gonna talk about some operational tips for ratios, late pickups and attendance, and some activity ideas that you can build your summer programming around. So summer camp isn't just a switch that you can turn on, believe it or not. There is a decent amount of things that are different between a full-time offering, full-time childcare offering, and a summer camp program. And there's a decent amount of preparation that you want to do in order to make sure that the actual operations day-to-day are super smooth and folks get come back next year and or enroll in your program at the end of summer. So we'll talk a bit more about preparation, so making sure your staffing is in line, scheduling is appropriate and accurate and compliant. Onboarding is clean both for teachers and for your families. And then operations, right? The safety and health of the kiddos always comes first. Are we compliant, of course, and then the actual daily running of camp. And then finally, the activities. This is like the cherry on top. Once you have your preparation and operations in place, what actually is the programming and the family experience that makes it feel incredible for families and makes it so that they want to refer additional clientele to you. So first things first, quick poll here. And this one's for real this time. Which of those three pillars feels the hardest to nail for camp this summer? Is it the staffing and onboarding side of things? Is it safety and compliance? Or the programming and family experience? Okay, so we have staffing and onboarding so far. It seems like that is the overwhelming one, staffing and onboarding. Okay, a couple folks on the programming and family experience side. I'm glad to see that safety and compliance is not the hardest piece, because it is one of those things that we can't really compromise on, right? Like, no matter how hard it is, it just has to be there. And so the good news is that the staffing and onboarding and the programming and family experiences are kind of like the cherries that go on top of this baseline that already is general safety, health, and compliance. So let's continue on then. Let's talk first things first about staffing and onboarding. So how to make sure that your team has a stress-free summer. The way that you should be thinking is making sure that the schedules are adjusting to the timelines and the schedules of summer camp, right? A lot, especially if you are running a full-time childcare option, a lot of your full-timers who've been here year-round, they might be running on fumes at this point. They might be close to burning out, and summer can be a very natural time to offer part-time flexibility and a real breather before your full-time program ramps up again. Again, you want to make sure that this is all in accordance with what your enrollment and expected attendance actually looks like. But there's a lot of benefits here to giving those folks who've worked so hard for the previous 9 months an opportunity to be flexible, maybe to come in on a couple days a week, or to only do the mornings or the afternoons or whatever it might be, right? Think about how you can optimize their schedules and give them a natural break, especially if you are the one proactively saying, hey, for example, Harmony, I know like the last couple months have been especially intense for you. By the way, if you want to take the month of June and just do the Monday, just want to do mornings, don't even worry about it. We have plenty of staff to help cover. And something like that actually goes a really, really long way. On the flip side, for your part-timers, if you have students, for example, they might want more hours and more responsibility. And so this could be a really great time to A, relieve those year-round full-timers, but B, see which of your part-timers are actually committed to your program, which of them are great, which of them do you want to sort of vie for a spot for year-round full-time help, right? This is a great way to put them into a live fire action sequence and see how they actually do. And I think the same thing is true for your junior staff, right? You have a lot of hands-on, super energetic work, especially for these younger folks that are in between, maybe they're on summer vacation for school. They are excited for these camp counselor roles where they get to be the leader and they get to inject like the room and their class with creativity. And as long as you provide them with super clear routines and structure, then they will flourish. And then the final thing is make sure you have your floaters and your substitutes, right? Call them, make sure your Rolodex is up to date. If someone calls out week 2, you should have a name and a number ready to go. So this is the perfect time to just reach out and say, hey, I know summer is right around the corner. We are running a camp again. Just want to make sure that you'll be around. Do you have any like upcoming travel that we should be aware of? Because people also, your teachers and your staff, your floaters, your substitutes, they also travel a bunch. So you want to make sure that before the summer starts, you have everyone's schedule roughly mapped out on a calendar so that you can effectively already pre-book people in case you need it. Awesome. So moving along, we want to make sure that staff are actually trained and that you're doing it in a way where folks are bought in when you do onboarding. So it's not just training for the sake of training, but it's stuff that actually sticks in their heads. It's stuff that they actually are able to utilize in the field when they need. So some ideas here, fill in the blanks, or you can even turn this into Jeopardy. There's like free Jeopardy makers online. You can even use AI to create you a custom Jeopardy game, or you could do like a Wordle custom to your program. So one option is like a fill in the blanks game where you're printing cards out with safety procedures and regulations, and we're going to leave some sections blank. and counselors have to complete the missing pieces in pairs, or you put it on the board and whoever hits the button first gets to answer it and explain what the fill in the blank is and why. Right? It's sort of like a teach back moment where they're explaining back to you and to the rest of the team why it is that this thing exists, what it is, and what it's designed to help achieve or prevent. Another one is scenario role play. Hopefully some of the folks on your team that are really excited to be counselors are full of creativity and imagination. And you can set them up in sort of these like acting scenarios where like they are actually doing the situations themselves that they should be aware of, right? Like maybe it's a camper who got hurt during pool time. Act it out, give everyone a role, and they'll have fun with it, right? The person who might be the child who got hurt, like let them have fun with it. Let them like cry and make people laugh a little bit. But then of course you're taking it seriously and people will be bought in because it's not only fun, but it also helps get that information stuck in your head. And then you switch it up. Maybe you do a safety scavenger hunt, after a full day or a morning of sitting around learning, doing the fill in the blanks and the scenario role play. Get them on their feet, running around. Have maybe a competition split up into two where folks are scanning areas and they're actually practicing the actual protocols. And maybe they're recording each other doing it and then coming back to the group as a whole and sharing it. Again, it's something where it's fun and people are laughing, but it's interesting enough where people have to actually take it seriously to do well. And anytime you have a little bit of competition or co-opetition, as I like to say, people tend to engage more. Now, on the safety and compliance side of things, it's going to be really important that you have daily routines and structure in place as a non-negotiable so that those junior folks know what's expected and what's not expected. And then, of course, even like the full-time year-rounders who might be used to what it's like in a full-time childcare setting can also adjust appropriately for a camp setting. So this should be obvious. Summer safety is more than just sunscreen. Here are a few rules that everyone should know on day one. And this is something that you want to make sure your team, your counselors, your leaders are communicating to campers every single day, right? Whether it's your first day of camp, whether you've been coming for 4 years and you're returning again, it doesn't matter. We are shouting this from the rooftops. And you can do a bunch of things to make sure people also remember it. Like you can do an awards ceremony at the end of the week for the camper that best exemplified these rules. You can give them like some fun candy and like a Gatorade water bottle or whatever it is. You can come up with some fun prizes and recognition. But number one should be buddy up, right? Especially if this is something where you have access to a larger ground. No camper should go anywhere alone, even if it's everyone's playing dodgeball in the gym and the pool. It's pool time and they're going to go meet up with their friends. They should be walking with a friend, right? So especially during swimming, field trips, hiking, all that good stuff, there should always be a buddy system. You should also make it very clear to your teachers and the teachers to their campers what is off limits, whether it's the pool, the lake, the parking lot, the street, the equipment area, the office, whatever it is, everything is off limits, or you have to be with a staff member. You want to make sure that people are wearing the appropriate clothing, athletic clothes, bathing suits, flip-flops where appropriate. If there's like jewelry situations, whatever it might be cognizant of what is appropriate and what is not, and communicate this not just to the campers, but to the families, right? Make sure you have really strong communication routines in place where the day before or the week of a certain activity, it's flagged for you internally to send out a notice to these families that such and such dress code is required. Hydration and sunscreen. This is just rule of thumb. Everyone should be following this kind of safety advice, but we want to make sure there's regular safety, regular hydration, and regular reapplication of sunscreen. And ideally, staff are modeling the behavior, so campers do it without being asked. Or campers are also being encouraged by their staff. This is another thing where if you have a really strong communication muscle, you are sending out a quick text blast to all the staff or a quick message to all staff saying, hey, just a reminder, top of the hour, or it's been a couple hours, hydrate, and reapply sunscreen. And whoever's in your office should be doing this every 2 to 3 hours or whatever it might be, constantly reminding your staff to do that for themselves and for their campers. If you are doing any sort of sleepaway situation or an area where like campers have their own space, cleanliness, everyone should be participating in cleanups and wiping things down. Again, depending on the age of the program, there may or may not be stuff that they can help with, but you just want to make sure that someone is directly responsible for keeping areas clean. And then finally, encourage your counselors to encourage their campers to speak up early. If you are feeling dizzy, if you are feeling hurt, whatever it might be, speak up, tell a counselor, make it very clear that it's a safe space for the camper. You just don't want something like this to turn into something bigger, whether it's a health concern, a safety concern, or just an overall experience concern. Summer heat is one of the biggest things to think about. So here are some general rules of thumb. Hydration. The CDC guidelines state that a cup of water every 20 minutes or so when active in heat is a way to do it safely. Again, ideally, if you are outside, you have a water cooler or a big like Gatorade jug, like one of those like ones they have on the bench for like a soccer game or something like that, filled with water. Constantly encouraging kiddos to be drinking. Ideally, you are also encouraging your parents to send the kids to camp with water bottles that they're constantly filling up again. We talked about this a little bit already, but clothing, make it incredibly clear what the activities are and what kind of clothing would be appropriate for the activities that you're doing and for the environment that you're in. You want to make sure that there are mandatory water breaks in the day. So not just within activities where you have water on, every few minutes you're pausing to have water, but when you're transitioning between the gym and the park or the pool and the gym, whatever it is, you stop at the water fountain, you make sure kiddos are having water, right? This is not an option. This is a mandatory thing. And this is going to be something that is just a constant reminder from your end to the rest of your team. And then just, common sense, like look at the weather, look at the temperature, and on days where things are especially hot, or if you're, my friends down in Texas, like follow the guidelines, make sure that the active programming is earlier in the morning or in the shade, or if possible, like indoors with AC. I remember like the camp that I went to growing up, they had this amazing basketball court that we turned into our dodgeball arena, that we turned into our capture the flag arena, especially on days where it was really, really hot, because there was AC and because there was a water fountain in there. It helps so much. So be cognizant of those heat advisory days and make adjustments to the schedule when needed. Everyone should go through some sort of heat illness recognition, right? So understand what a heat rash looks like, understand what heat cramps are, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke. Obviously, there's different layers of intensity that each of these things might have. And it's just important that your team is able to recognize these symptoms and then act on it accordingly. I assume that everyone and their team goes through a safety and health training, but this is one thing that you want to just make sure is drilled into them, of being able to recognize this stuff. Again, a great topics to cover during the fill in the blanks and the scenario role plays that you do with your team. If you don't have this, and I should mention on the insurance side of things, in no way, shape, or form is this legal advice. Like I'm not going to be the person who's going to tell you exactly what you need. That said, I would highly encourage making sure that you have proper coverage here. So whether it's general liability, property, workers' comp, if you're driving, there's vehicle liability, but just in general, you want to make sure that you have the proper coverage. Again, I'm sure some of this stuff goes without saying, but just make sure that you are insured and that you're covered in the event. I would review the specific coverage with your broker before camp starts, especially if there's water play, especially if there's field trips or transportation that's not typically provided during your year-round program. So you just want to make sure for the activities that you're doing, there are insurance policies in place that keep you protected. Now, all that fun stuff out of the way, you can focus a little bit more on programming and the family experience. And this is the part that really helps ensure that your roster is filled both next summer, but also next fall. Strongly encourage you to think about theming each week of camp, right? So examples can be a camp carnival for week 1, Builders and Makers week 2, Water Wars week 3, Showtime week 4, and it attracts different folks. And you get exposure to all different kinds of families and kiddos with different interests, right? So for carnival, you want to pull together classroom games, homemade tickets, outdoor booths, end the week with like a photo booth situation and silly hats and costumes and popsicles or whatever it might be. Water Wars, use sprinklers and buckets and teamwork challenges and water balloons and all this fun stuff. You don't necessarily need a pool. You just need a place where it's safe to get everyone soaking wet. So there's a ton of different ways that you can do this. If you have field trips, you can also make sure that they kind of fall in line with the theme of the week. And you can also pull in the dress code, right? Like if you're doing Water Wars, like make it clear what days to wear a t-shirt and what days to wear a bathing suit, or when to bring a change of clothes, or when to bring flip-flops or a towel. So all that fun stuff, keep it all in the back of your head, right? It's not just about the programming itself, but it's what you communicate to the families and how they actually interact with it. Get creative with it. Most of the stuff you probably don't need to buy already. Like most of the stuff is already in the closet. And you want to just pull together your leftover supplies, your costumes and dress ups, your decorations, your equipment and your board games, and just all the stuff. I'm sure there's an immense amount of stuff laying around. A great use case for AI, for ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever AI system you use, snap a photo of your closet or just pull out a bunch of stuff, snap a photo of it, give it this week's theme and the activities that you're doing or you want to do, and say, how can I use the materials here? Give me ideas for stuff I can do. Let the AI do the work for you. It is so good at that kind of stuff. And if you don't like it, tell it, give me 10 more ideas. And boom, you have 10 ideas that you can pull from, mix and match. And there should never be a situation, hopefully, where you can't get creative with what you already have. All right, marketing your summer camp. This is something that is, if you don't market your summer camp, people don't know that you exist, and there's no camp to actually have in the first place, right? So you want to make sure that first and foremost, you have a way for families to register for camp completely online. This is something that Playground does really, really well. You can give families the options to book depending on how you want to do it. You select the week, you select the specific dates. You can have pricing adjust based off of the days or the weeks that are selected. You can have blackout dates like the 4th of July or whatever it might be. But make it really, really easy for families to register for themselves. Make it really easy to register if they have a couple kids. And you want to lean into urgency. You want to tell them, hey, we have 4 spots left. We have a couple spots left. Make it clear that this is not something that they can just do on a whim, right? Attach a deadline to it. Hey, registration closes on this date for this week or whatever it might be. You can also oftentimes say, we will waive your application fee of like $30 or whatever it is if you register by this date. So, the sooner they register, maybe the better the cash flow is for you. You're happy to waive that fee as a result. I would lean very heavily on your existing families. Market to them in your family communication platform. Send out text blasts, send out email blasts. That's something that Playground does really well, and let them know, hey, we are starting a summer camp, or we are opening up our summer camp in a few months. We're opening up the first few spots to current families first. So here's when you have to register by. By this date, it's going to open to the public, and your spot's not guaranteed. So tell it to your families and remind them week over week that this thing is happening. You can also offer referral bonuses to your families. Tell them, hey, if you have a family that you're friends with that doesn't go to our program, but they want to come to our camp, we'll give you some sort of tangible referral if you get them to enroll, whether it's a credit, whether it's a discount, whether it's something or other. You want to give your families some sort of incentive to tell their friends about your program. And the other piece here is the registration experience for summer is very different than what it is for a year-round childcare option. And so you just want to make sure that you're still using the same platform, because you want to make sure that you account for a family that is normally year-round but switches to summer camp, and you have the entire history in one place. A system like Playground gives you that flexibility depending on what you want to do. And so if you are interested in learning a little bit more about how Playground actually works specifically for camps, you can click the button below or just scan the QR code on the screen to check it out and book a demo with one of our teammates. But the reason that Playground is so powerful is because in addition to the live ratio tracking and the family communication that we do, we also have enrollment and registration flows built specifically for summer camp. So it's session-based, or it's attendance-based, or it's day or week-based with dynamic pricing and scheduling that automatically adjust based off of whatever the family's schedule. So if you want to give them the flexibility, you don't have to worry about manually setting the schedules every single week or manually setting out the bills every single week, because the system does the heavy lifting for you. You can do billing for sessions or drop-ins, and then a ton of paperwork collection and approval flows so that you don't drive yourself crazy and pull your hair out chasing down families for the information that you need to have on file to make sure that you are fully compliant with any sort of rules and regulations. So we'll keep this up on the page. And maybe this is a good time to pause for some questions. If anyone has any questions about getting ready for summer camp, feel free to throw it in the chat. And I'm happy to answer it. I'll pause for a couple of seconds to see if anyone has any questions they want to pass along. Otherwise, I will start to wrap up. So I'll kick off the closing thoughts here as we wait for any questions to come in. Firstly, we'll talk a little bit more about the prize winners. So we have a couple lucky folks who won a gift card from Playground. I'll announce those in a second. And then a couple upcoming events that I want to call out. So we'll start with the raffle winners. So congratulations goes to Peyton Dame and Dandria Johnson. Congratulations to you two. You just both won our raffle just for being here. So congratulations. You'll receive an email from us with your gift card. Thanks for being here. And if you all want to learn a little bit more about Playground, in addition to doing just the just the family communication and enrollment side of camp, we also do things like payroll and marketing and food program in the event that you need a more comprehensive solution for running the entire camp in one place. It's the same kind of setup that we have for our full-time year-round options, but it works exceptionally well for camps as well. So there's a little button in the corner, a QR code in the corner, and a button in the bottom of the screen in case you're interested. And I'd like to call your attention to May 19th, in a week and a half, where I'm doing one more webinar about the story behind Playground. So if you were curious about how did Playground actually come to be, I'll be doing an overview of it and a quick demo of how the platform works. We'd love to see you all there. There's a button on the screen that you can register for free. If you scan it now, we'll also automatically send you emails in advance leading up to it, so you don't miss it. Excellent. Okay, I didn't see any questions come in, so I'm sorry, I did see questions come in. When should I start thinking about fall enrollment? Sorry, I was looking at the chat and not the Q&A. So we got a question here. When should I start thinking about fall enrollment? Good question, Emma. So this is something that you want to make sure you are thinking about year-round, ideally. For all of your summer families who aren't enrolled in your full-time offering and have kids that would be of age, you want to make sure that when you are talking to them, when they're dropping off and when they're picking up kiddos, you can look at their schedule and you should be letting them know, hey, by the way, in addition to this camp, if you're having fun, we also have this full-time childcare option. We actually have a slot opening up for, in this child's classroom age range that I can hold for you. The same way that you marketed towards your existing families about summer camp opening, you should also market to all of your summer families that fall enrollment is opening. So at any point in the summer, throughout the summer, you should let them know, hey, hope you're having a lot of fun with fall around the corner. We are currently enrolling a couple extra spots in this classroom or this classroom. And you can make it, if you use a system like Playground, you can make it so that the emails only go to that specific age range. So only the toddler families are getting a toddler family email, and only the infant families are getting an infant family email, for example. And you're saying, hey, we have an opening for this classroom. Let us know by this date if you'd like it, or if you want to come in for a tour. Good question. But you should always be talking about enrollment. Amazing. Someone asked, how often do you have glitches in your system? We don't. We have a phenomenal product team that is really, really, really good at what they do, and they make it so that your families, your team, and yourself can use the product in a super seamless way without having to worry about the system getting in your way of doing your job. Good questions. Any other questions coming in? We got a thank you from Peyton and Dandria. You guys are both welcome. Thanks for being here. Rhonda says thank you. You are welcome. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out directly to us. You can go to our website, tryplayground.com, or you can just book a demo. It's with a member of our team. One of our experts can walk you through and understand exactly what your camp situation looks like today, how it fits into the rest of your childcare program. And then we can show you how Playground can actually work for you. So if you're interested, feel free to grab some time. Otherwise, I'm going to end today's webinar. This was so much fun. You all now learned about Rhode Island being called the Ocean State, which I had no idea. So we all learned something new today. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again soon. Bye, everyone.